brother did to Trayvon Martin. And many people feel, why did your brother pursue him? Why did he get out of the vehicle and pursue him? Why did he carry a gun? Why is he not in himself feeling any sense of responsibility for what happened? Because without those two things, Trayvon Martin would probably still be alive.
I don't think it's true that he doesn't feel responsibility. George was completely sorrowful after this happened, and just because he's calm or because he's not over the top, emotional, doesn't mean he doesn't feel terribly about it. As we saw in court when he asked Doris Singleton, "Are you Catholic?" "Yes, because in my religion it's bad, no matter what, when someone loses life, abortion, self-defense, what have you." But I would tell those people that they are, again, from my previous answer, they're not paying attention to facts. You said pursued, which is a very key word, which comes from Benjamin Crump. He admitted to following. That came out in court. The state of Florida never proved that he continued to follow. So any reference to George following Trayvon Martin, catching up to, confronting him, is simply conjecture to format a narratives.
Well, the truth, though, is that we don't know. I mean, there are too many unanswered questions. You know what your brother told you.
No. In this country, we know when there's a verdict. In your country, we may not know, and we may be subject to continual speculation till the end of time.
No. I totally respect the judicial system, and I respect the verdict of any jury under that. I think that's the only way you can respond to these things. But you know my view about this from the start, but I do respect the jury. I would just ask you this, I guess. If the situation was reversed, if you were the brother of Trayvon Martin, and, well, let's say you were the brother of George Zimmerman, and he'd been killed by Trayvon Martin, in the same situation reversed.
Right.
The Trayvon had got out of a vehicle, had a gun, been a neighborhood patrolman, and had got involved in some altercation, pulled the gun out, and had killed your brother dead.
Well, what the jury found is...
How would you feel on a human level and an emotional level about that?
Well, two things, obviously. That is tragic, but if Trayvon were my brother and he was the one who was armed and legally armed and, able to carry that firearm in a legal way, and my brother blindsided him by breaking his nose and pummeling his head into concrete and continuing to punch him, I would find, and the jury has found, that unfortunately he had the greater hand in his own demise, which was causing, by his own hand, his death. That's unfortunate, but that's the reality. And
do you really believe that?
That's what the jury believes. It doesn't matter what I believe.
Do you believe that?
Absolutely, I do believe that. I know.
You believe that Trayvon caused his own death?
I believe.
17-year-old boy just...
The jury believes...
Just with a bag of Skittles?
Look, we can be cynical about it till the end of time.
No, I'm just asking you what your personal view is.
And I've been very clear what my personal view is, and I think so has the jury. The jury has spoken, and they've been very clear. Self-defense means you were defending your life from a real perceived threat. Whether or not you were injured to the degree that some would have you be injured to in order to shoot someone or not, you actually perceived an imminent threat of grave bodily harm or death. And that is what the circumstances were that surrounded George in the moment he fired his pistol. That's the law in this country. The jury's been very clear. They agree with George. It is unfortunate that someone lost their life, but having said that, you asked me if the role were reversed.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge anyone for trying to get to answers as to why their son died. What I do take issue with is when those answers are not immediately forthcoming, throwing the race card on the table and accusing everyone from George, the Sanford Police Department, the Chief of Police, Bill Lee, the State Attorney's Office in the 18th Circuit, everyone in between, of being racist or sweeping a murder under the rug.
Margaret Merritt tonight said that if George Zimmerman had been black, he would never have been charged with any offense.
Perhaps not, because that happens in Chicago every day. There are many people who go out and shoot other people who are black, and they shoot other people who are black, and they are not charged for whatever reason.
Well, some of them are, obviously.
Some of them are. There are many more who are not. There are many more unsolved homicides in Chicago than there are in Sanford, Florida. But, we are where we are as a family, and George is where he is as George. And we're going to have the right conversation that we need to have going forward. Trayvon is the victim of many things. He's certainly not, and the jury has found that he is not. Our system has found that he is not. He is not the victim of a murder. He is not the victim of a manslaughter. And as much as you want to spin it, or talk about Skittles, or trash George on your program or any other CNN program, he is an innocent man.
It's not about trashing. It's not about trashing. It's just, it turned out to be a fact after George pulled that trigger and killed Trayvon Martin that Trayvon had been unarmed and just had a bag of
No,
Skittles.
he was armed with the sidewalk, he was armed with his nose-breaking fist, and he was armed with whatever aggression he brought to that moment. You know,
Okay,
what
let's-
bag of
let's
Skittles or
hope-
bag of M&Ms or bag of whatever you want.